Hi, everyone.
Hello there, guys. This is the last round for our hackathon, and these are our judges, Chandra Kavana, Jonathan Anderson, and Aidan Moores. I am Umama Rahman. I'll be moderating this session, and I am a second-year computer engineering student at MUN. And here are your judges. Please feel free to introduce yourselves.
Yep, I could go first, I guess. So my name's Jonathan Anderson. I'm a faculty member at Memorial in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering.
Hi, Aidan Moores. I'm with Genesis, and I'm Success Manager pre-incubation. Look forward to hearing what you all say.
So my name is Chandra Kavanaugh, and I'm the Director for Balanced Health Innovation. Really looking forward to hearing all of this. I know there's been a ton of hard work that's been put in, and I'm especially excited to hear if there are any med tech ideas out there.
All right, so let's start. First team we'll have is Astrad. Their project Mark.it. If you're part of the Astrad team, please send in a request. I'll allow you to share your screen and presentation.
Hi.
Hello there. You guys are Astrad?
It's Astraz.
Astrad. Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sure. You guys can start setting up.
All right.
By the way, you guys will have 3 minutes to present and 3 minutes for Q&A. You guys get some extra time for Q&A since it's the final round.
That's good. Are we ready?
All right. You guys can start now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Dwyer, and here with me today, I have my teammates, Maggie and Carson. We're grade 10 students at Lakewood Academy doing our first year of computer science. Essentially, the problems that we are presented with is lack of e-commerce options for farmers, pre-sale food waste, and people not wanting to make unnecessary trips to markets. Other than basic social media platforms, farmers in developing regions don't have a conjoined e-commerce option. Pre-sale food accounts for a large part of food waste, and people don't want to make trips to markets just for the vendor to be sold out or not carrying the product that they want. Making trips like that is much more difficult for people in developing countries, and food waste is much more serious. Mark.it is a website that allows local farmers and businesses to post their products and production statistics so people can get an idea of what is available for purchase, and so vendors can monitor each other, giving them an idea of what to grow and make, reducing pre-sale waste. A certain amount of product is available for pre-order, so people are guaranteed to get what they were looking for when they attend the market. From a vendor's perspective, getting their product into the world without wastage is a major gain. Sellers lose lots of money each year with unsold product, which is much more valuable in developing regions than it would be somewhere else. On the other side of it, they can watch what other vendors are producing and selling. If another farmer has a surplus of something and none of it is being sold, people will know that there is no market for that product right now, saving them time and money. As a shopper, fresh local products are always appealing. Typically, people are told the vendors at a market, but not what's in stock. With Mark.it, they can figure out the products and order their things ahead of time, making sure they can get it once they arrive, so there's no waste of a trip. Now we're down to how the site works. Here we have a homepage containing a search bar for people to search any product or business quickly. When the shop selection is chosen, all businesses appear, making it easy for people to find which one they're looking for. Once a business is selected, it shows all the products, prices, and contact information and platforms for the seller. When the stats section is chosen, the same thing appears, but when the businesses are clicked, it shows how much product is being produced, how much is being sold. It also provides how much products are being sold for. Vendors are then able to see what they'll be making the most profit producing. Here we have the shop section and the statistics section. Finally, to wrap it up, the overall benefits are as follows. Our website drives people to their local markets for pickup, bringing business to other vendors and boosting profit at markets. Revealing statistics reduces pre-sale food waste, which saves farmers lots of money and time that is incredibly valuable in these developing countries. If people are guaranteed products when going to these markets, they are much more likely to go, creating a mass profit for vendors and an overall healthier community. That is all we have for today. Thank you.
All right. Judges, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Sure. I guess one question I would have is with these kinds of marketplaces where you have two sides, the vendors and the consumers, it's always tricky getting somebody to go first because everybody wants to go to the place to buy where all the sellers are, and the sellers want to go to where all the buyers are. So do you have any thoughts about how you kind of start that process and get the ball rolling?
Well, it would be for like a pre-existing market. So the people already know that the buyers are going to go there. So the sellers would post their things first and then see.
So that was an excellent presentation. It's very exciting. I love that you sort of mocked up the website in like MS Paint or something like that to give us a visual. I thought that was very clever. So I have a couple of different questions, but one is that when it comes to food and the treatment of food, there's a lot of regulatory compliance factors. You want to make sure that everything that's being sold is safe and secure. And so how would you address that to make sure that your website didn't get in trouble for somebody supplying food that's tainted or something like that?
We were also thinking about doing like a rating system where you could, people that already bought from there could rate and write reviews about it, so people know not to buy from people who are selling low rated things.
Great idea, just like Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the other piece of it that I was wondering is, do you see Mark.it as a social enterprise or as a for-profit venture?
Social, I would say.
Thank you.
Another quick question that I would have is, so farmers aren't necessarily a population that's the most tech literate in the world. And you can imagine that you have different crops that are ready at different times and you're having to put up different pictures of what that you have available. So do you have any plan in mind for sort of educating your customer base to make sure they can make the best use of your product?
So typically in a farmer's market, there will be other employees. So essentially what could be good is that the employees can help the farmers to promote their business on this website.
They could help each other, yeah.
Yeah, good answer.
If we still have a minute, could I throw in another question?
Yep.
Great. So yeah, and I should also say I also really appreciated the wireframing of the website, the very kind of rough sketch. That's actually a super helpful thing to do. Sometimes when you mock up a UI, you don't want it to be extremely pixel for pixel realistic because it gets people to focus on the wrong details. So that's great. Yeah, right. The other question was, so if you have all these farmers and all of these people who want to buy food and they're all visiting each other on the website, do you see that as potentially replacing the marketplace, or would that reduce or have a deleterious impact on people actually going to the market for other kind of social benefits?
We actually said in the thing, I don't know if I was going too fast or not, but that only a certain amount of products would be available for pre-order. And so people would still have to go to the market sometimes. And they would still have to go to the market and pick it up, but they would just know it was there.
All right. We're done with 3 minutes of quick Q&A time. Thank you very much, guys. Wonderful presentation. We'll now give the judges 1 minute to register their the judgment on their Google form. So you guys can leave the session.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. 404 not found. Team, please get ready. You can send in the requests. After 1 minute, I'll let you in. All right, if the judges are ready, I can let the next team in. All right, team 404 not found. You guys can start your presentation now.
Can you guys see the screen share? Or is it? Okay, it's good now. Before starting our presentation, we would like to take a moment to give a content warning. We will be talking about violence, and specifically sexual violence against women, and we understand if people need to remove themselves for their comfort or safety. Sexual harassment and violence against women is an extremely prevalent issue in Egypt. A 2013 study in Egypt by women found that 99.3% of female respondents said they have been sexually harassed. So virtually all women in Egypt have been impacted in some way.
To help prevent these violent crimes against women, we propose a mobile application called NavGuard, short for Navigation Guardian. NavGuard is an application designed for women to help each other by bringing awareness to location where these crimes often occur. Our application takes crowdsourced reports from users and other sources. One such source is called HarassMap, a website that has been collecting reports of sexual harassment in Egypt since 2010. We use these reports to mark an area with a potential risk level based on the number of reports received for that location. Users can use our interactive map to plan their route to avoid high-risk areas. We provide the ability to view the number of reports collected for different general areas as well as specific streets. Not only that, if the user has a mobile device, it can alert them with a push notification when they are approaching an area that could be dangerous. The user can also make calls to emergency services with a single button press while using the application. We handle moderation of reports through the usage of automated protection against spam and additional moderation by people. All reports are moderated by humans to ensure they are legitimate before being added to the data that will be updated every 8 hours. Until a report is reviewed and approved, it will remain pending until it is accepted or rejected. This 8-hour interval allows for proper curation and timely delivery so users can get accurate and reliable data fast. To keep the app as accessible as possible to women with low literacy levels, we have focused our design around visual images and kept language minimal on the main screen. Also, Egypt has a wide variety of commonly written and spoken languages, so we included several language options to further improve accessibility. The issue of violence against women and gender inequality in general is a global issue, but it impacts women in certain developing areas like Egypt to a uniquely devastating degree. Our aim with NavGuard is to empower women in Egypt to speak out against this violence anonymously, in a way that directly helps other women. Not only will this app help women avoid dangerous areas and stay safe, but the data collected will also help raise awareness of this pervasive issue and educate people on the realities of violence.
Your 3 minutes are up right now. That was a good presentation. Now the question and answer session can start with the judges. Feel free to ask any questions.
I guess I could go first again. So thanks for your presentation. So it sounds like a huge issue, and it sounds like you have some good plans to help with the issue. I guess my first question is, why Egypt in particular? Do you have a connection to Egypt, or is Egypt like the lowest on a ranking table of places where this is an issue?
We went with Egypt because we felt like Egypt is a place that people hear about a lot, and with such a large issue, it's never really like addressed or talked about. Just for like a quick statistic to throw out. It was what was it? Egypt ranked 6th for worst gender equality, but 36th for best country overall in the world. So like when you're looking at stuff like that, we just felt like it was an issue that really needed to be talked about. So that's why we chose Egypt to target specifically.
So thank you so much for your presentation. Tremendously important issue, as well as a very difficult issue to talk about and address for a number of different reasons. So I'm glad that you did. I thought that it was quite an interesting solution, but one of the things that comes to mind to me, especially as somebody who's been in the feminist community for a long time, is this appears to be a way to encourage or allow women to change their behavior. So do you have any concern that this may be looked at as this is asking women to change their behavior instead of asking men to change their behavior or asking rapists to change their behavior?
That could always be a concern. It's a quite difficult question, but I appreciate it. It could be looked at that way, but with what we're aiming for, we are trying to bring empowerment to women in Egypt, because there's still like a lot of issues going on there. There's still to this day laws don't protect women at all from things like domestic violence, and until 2020 there was still even some heinous things that people could get away with if they married them afterwards. So while we're hoping that it won't take that approach, because a lot of the big thing is like a lot of women don't feel like they can talk about it. So by getting this out there more and really educating others about it, it can show that things do need to change, and will hopefully start a greater discussion, not just in Egypt, but in other regions as well.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting point, and it's a bit of a digitization of what women have done for many years on bathroom walls to say, hey, don't date this guy, he's dangerous. So I think that's, a very interesting way to address it.
The only concern I'd have is, are you building a database that the concerned individuals could access? Have you looked at the security of the data?
Access in what way? Like just for viewing, or?
If you look at planning it to avoid the high-risk routes, you could reverse engineer it. And then if you have someone in using the platform, they could kind of plan their own routes if they were vindictive. That's the best way I can come up with. There's not really a pretty way to ask the question. But have you thought about the security of the data to protect the women using
sorry
the
to cut in, but 3 minutes are up. So that's the end of the question answer session. Thank you very much for Not Found. Amazing presentation. And next, Titanic, please send in your requests, and I'll give the judges 1 minute for filling up the form for Not Found. Thank you. All right, if the judges are done, we can start with the next team. All right, calling in Titanic.
Hey everyone. We will be presenting a video, so we won't be doing any talking ourselves. I apologize if the audio is a bit unclear in some places, because some of us don't have really good internet, or mics for that matter. So just bear with us here.
All
Good
right.
morning, afternoon, or
Your
evening
time.
to everyone. I'm Kaylin, and I'm with my teammates, Zay, Joel, and Chloe, and we're from the team class Titanic Float None. Today, my group will be presenting our ideas on ways to help residents of a developing region solve one of their societal problems. Our area of focus will be on sustainability. Did you know 380 trillion kg of plastic is produced annually? 68% of people do not recycle, while 91% of plastic does not get recycled. 14 trillion kg of plastic end up in the ocean yearly as well.
So for our problems, first of all, people are unaware of wastage. So most consumers in developing countries are uneducated about the waste they produce and where waste goes after they don't put it in recycling. Two, people aren't sure where they should start if they want to recycle. In developing countries, the recycling systems aren't as developed and as in developed countries, and so they aren't sure where they're supposed to actually put the recycling. Number three, people aren't as motivated. Recycling has always been deemed as troublesome or a waste of time. Number four, people would rather save money than donate. In developing countries, people do not want to waste money on donating environmental stuff to environmental groups or purchasing more sustainable alternatives.
Our group have brainstormed ideas which can counter these issues. 1. Tracking sustainability. Our solution provides users with a way to keep track of how much energy they use or how often they practice sustainability. Number 2. Convenience. Humans would deem convenience as a must as it will provide them with much less work. Number 3. Provide incentives. Sometimes people will need to gain something just for them to take action. Number 4. Low cost. Humans will need solutions that are low cost so that they will not feel a need to save money, hence they will not have a reason for their lack of action.
So this is our project treeCycle. So in this website, users will be able to upload photos of them recycling, upcycling, or reusing, and all the uploads will be counted here. And when they do upload, they'll be awarded a few coins. They can head to this tree icon, and they can use these coins to buy decorations or water to grow the tree and make it look nice. And when they are successful in doing that, they'll be able to earn awards. Secondly, they can also choose to redeem or donate their coins. So they can redeem their coins for vouchers, or they can donate to eco-friendly organizations. In our website, there is also a tree cycling project of the day. Lastly, there is a feature called Fuel Track, where users would be able to record down whenever they have to refill their car fuel tanks, and this will help motivate them to use less energy.
All right. I believe that's the end of the presentation. Now for the Q&A session. Judges, feel free to ask any questions. I'll be removing the screen share.
Any questions?
Yeah, so I wanted to let Aiden jump in because he got cut off the last time, but that was a great presentation. Really, really cute idea. It's kind of, this is going to out me as an old person, but it seems a bit like the Neopets of sustainability. So that you get to decorate your little house and feel good about the work that you're doing. So I'm a little bit curious about sort of the model that you're using here. So it appears to me that it would be a social enterprise. But I'm interested in how you would get these, so much % off tickets, or where you get your metal straws from and those kinds of things.
Right. So we plan to use advertisements and sponsors like any other rewarding app. So if the sponsors can sponsor us, their advertisements will be put up, so which generates revenue, like Facebook or Instagram. Same thing, except they sponsor us with reward coupons and stuff.
Yeah,
Great.
not to put too many, so it's not overwhelming, and the app still keeps the theme.
Yeah, right.
And can I share my tree on my LinkedIn or on my Twitter or on my Facebook so my friends
Yeah,
can see?
at this point, you become somewhat of an environmental influencer, so I guess you can. It'll be really cool, and you can flex in front of other people.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Where were you targeting your first market?
Okay, so it'll probably be some country like India or let's say Bangladesh or something, because they are still developing, but they have access to internet thanks to networks like Geo and stuff. So, and also they've got like 1 point something billion people. That's a lot. So I believe that we can target such markets there first, and if it's a success, it could start a trend which may cause other governments into looking into such ideas and maybe start a chain reaction or something like that.
Yeah, and we were also looking into creating like apps that wouldn't need to be connected to the internet. And so when
Yeah.
people get vouchers, they would be able to go to local banks and be able to redeem the money and use it for their daily needs.
There's a similar system in Kenya or something where they use banks without any internet, like mobile banking without any internet.
Yeah, they could go in person if we connected to the local banks.
Yeah.
So one question I would have is, so if this is kind of the crowdsourcing of rewards for environmental behaviors and things, is there any role for kind of experts in the system? Like if, for example, there are widespread misconceptions about recycling or that sort of thing, is there any role for correcting those kinds of
Yes.
potentially feedback loops?
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, there is a role. I don't know if you know this, but there's in apps like Coinbase, there is something called Learn and Earn. So you watch these educational videos about cryptocurrencies and you earn some sort of coins. So I believe we can implement some sort of system like that where we have
I'm
climate
sorry
knowledge.
to cut you off. It's been 3 minutes for the question and answer.
Okay, cool.
But if that's about it. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah.
Next, we'll have ECM survivors. So please send in your requests for presenting, and I'll give the judges 1 minute for finishing off their scoring. All right. Thank you.
It's very efficient moderating, I have to say, really sticking to the clock in a way that requires a lot of discipline. So thank you for that.
Man, we could use more of that at some of our conferences.
All right. All right. If the judges are ready, the next team can present. All right. Next up, we have ECM survivors. All right, you guys can start presenting now.
Hello there, my name is Anna Bain and I'm the founder of Human Chargers. My teammates are Amr Badawi and Omar Farouk. What's the problem? So 1.6 billion people live without electricity. Only 7% of South Sudan's population have access to electricity. Imagine your life without electric heating, lights, water access, and basic needs. This is what they live through every day. Now hear this. 1.5 million people die each year from air pollution, and 89% of global CO2 emissions come from the fossil fuels industry. We need electricity to meet many of our needs. However, our main way to access this energy is through destroying our planet and killing more people through the waste products. What we really need is clean, renewable energy that doesn't harm the planet and ourselves. This is where Human Chargers comes into play. Through the muscle power of the human body, Human Chargers offers innovative and affordable clothing that harnesses renewable energy with each move that you make. With the usage of our newfound eco-friendly energy source, electromyography, Human Chargers will allow humans to progress into a new realm of sustainable energy sources. So how does electromyography work? It's electricity generated through muscle activation, which can be calculated through membrane currents multiplied by resistance. We designed a prototype of the circuit to translate muscle activation electricity to a power source, which is pictured. The AC signal is produced by the muscle, goes through the rectifier and amplifier to produce a larger DC signal, which is then split to charge the circuit and power bank. Arduino programming will also be used in the final product of our company. For our product design, electrodes will be placed in athletic clothing such as leggings and tight tops that have moisture-wicking software in order to ensure best placement and conditions. EMG will be our initial source of energy, but we will also use piezoelectric materials to harness kinetic energy, as well as luminescent solar concentrators for the storage of photoelectric energy, and finally, thermoelectricity to capture body heat. In the future, we aim to target other markets such as hikers, athletes, and environmentally conscious people. There are a multitude of ways that human chargers will help the world, and you are a path to a clean Earth. All you need to do is just start moving. The clothes will do the rest. No longer will clean energy be inaccessible and expensive. With human chargers, anyone will be able to take advantage of their muscle powers. It's within your reach. Why not make the move towards accessible clean energy? I'm Anna Bain, the founder of Human Chargers. Join me in our movement to harness the potential of the human body and make clean energy available to everyone. Thank you. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Sorry, you can go on.
I guess I was just going to ask, in terms of you're targeting areas without electricity currently, is it going to be cost prohibitive for them to purchase the equipment that you're proposing, or where's your target to sell?
Right. So what we were thinking at the moment is that we were initially going to send a couple free trials to different places. So initially we were thinking maybe some across Canada, as that's closer to home. And then once we get feedback from these free trial customers, then we use the improvements on our devices. And then we would be using as a profit company, but we would donate some of those profit to charity, and we would try and make sure that all of our products are accessible to people in need.
Thanks.
So excellent presentation. And I've seen you present before, and it's always a great job. So it was very exciting to hear. But I also feel like this idea is similar to like the flying car or the hoverboard, where it's like we keep hearing about human generated power, whether that's through clothing or that's through stationary bicycles or all sorts of different ways that human beings could generate power. And it never seems to have taken off. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on why it hasn't taken off before and why this is the one that's going to work.
Right. So I think the ones that haven't taken off before, it's because it hasn't. Well, I think what we have that makes ourselves stand out is that we use multiple different sources of electricity. So not only will we be using EMGs, but we'll also be using the movement of your body, as well as solar energy and body heat. And then through that, we will make sure to add as much electricity as possible to ensure that we can make it accessible for everyone. Did you want to add anything?
Can I add something?
Yep.
Yeah. So what I want to say is
the main reasons these technologies don't come off is because it's really difficult to actually amplify signals or gain and store these energies in a safe place. That's why we're going with something that's a clothing line. So our clothing line will be tight wear and inner wear, like Lululemon leggings and other stuff, so that it's breathable, easable, and easily accessible, and then people will wear it daily. So that's why the energy generated will be constant instead of just when you're pedaling or something. That's one of the few things that we thought about, so that it can be used on a daily basis instead of just once a month or something.
So one quick question I would have, and again, thanks for the great presentation. Do you have any rough ideas quantitatively how much energy we're talking about?
So the average human body generates around 0.25 millivolts per muscle, and we try to get some all the energy produced by the different muscles from the body, for example, arms and legs, and then we try to measure them up and then rectify them, and then we try to make it go through multi-stage amplifying, which is going to end up from millivolts to actually respectable amount of volts, which could be up to 10 and 20 volts per hour, which is enough to actually power up a toaster or maybe charge up a phone.
Is volts how we measure energy?
It's the
I'm sorry to cut off here, but we're done at 3 minutes for the Q&A. Thank you very much, ECM survivors. Next, we have .py or .py. Please send in your requests and be ready for presenting. I'll give the judges 1 more minute for filling up their form. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
I believe the judges are ready. We can call in the next participants. All right, Dotpy.
Hello there.
Hi there.
All right, hey there, guys. You guys can set up and we can start the presentation.
Is that visible? Yep. Okay.
Your hop-in page is visible. All right.
Yep. Right.
All right, your time starts now.
Yep. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zuhair Muhammad, and I'm here with my teammates Samir Ahmed, Ammar Faruqi, and Ahmed Sheikh, and we present to you Looms. Our mission today here is to globalize the local artistry market by pushing the boundaries and using the power of storytelling to storytelling and technology. The problem we were looking to solve today is the struggle of sustaining handicraft work as a livelihood. Because in developing countries, they possess a lot of potential in terms of portraying traditional handiwork and artistry skills, but the production of these products used by traditional techniques slows down the process, and they're usually overtaken by the cheaper mass-produced counterparts that overtake the market and reduce the true price or true value of that product. So that's where Looms comes in. We support these traditional craftsmanship across the globe by providing our expertise to local businesses in need. And we do that by providing an e-commerce platform. We do that by sharing stories of local handiwork to uplift nearly lost family traditions. And we also connect our consumers to their products to improve our customer experience. The value proposition statement is that Looms is an e-commerce site that empowers local traditional craftsmanship from developing countries by providing an international platform for the underpaid, devalued, and exploited artisans worldwide. According to our research, the Indian export market alone is expected to cap around $300 billion from the year 2022 to 2023. And companies such as Versace, Dior, St. Lawrence mass produce their products in these developing countries, and the local artisan is paid much less. And when the product is moved to the international market, the value of that product is increased, and thereby the local artisan is in a disadvantage. So here's a mock-up that we have of our website, and our website showcases all the products that we would be collecting. In this particular case study, we are focusing mainly on India and the products from all across India. And we will also be sharing a little bit about the story or the background of the seller and what their business story would be. And that would allow the consumers to connect with their product and understand the true value of their purchase. And that would inevitably increase the customer experience as well. So we do have a similar organization in this field, but there are distinct features that separate from Looms. Particularly, we provide more extra support for the underprivileged communities. We facilitate a platform to the market seller stories with the product. We offer an international market with profit sharing for artisans, and we provide that security to them. We have this is the entire team that we have over here, and we've been working collaboratively.
All right. I'm sorry to cut you off. That would be your 3 minutes for presenting. That's a very good presentation. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Now if you stop your screen share.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now the judges have the floor to ask any questions. Feel free.
So I guess I could jump in with one. So you drew a comparison with Etsy, but there are other sites that exist for the purpose of specifically connecting people with, handcrafted things by people in the developing world and have a bit more of a social mission. 10,000 villages, and I think Engineers Without Borders supports something in this vein. What is the kind of comparison between what you're doing and what they're doing?
Yep. So the true comparison that we would want to bring is that we also share the stories of the local businessmen that we have there, because we're not just an e-commerce platform. We're also a platform that is selling a story, and that we're selling a story with the product. and that allows our consumers to understand the product better, to understand the hard work that goes into it, and that also generates an awareness with the product as well. So I would say that that would be our main point, as that we would be sharing the true stories from the local artisans right to the consumer screen, and we're basically making the process of purchasing much easier, so that it's easier for other people internationally to support these local businesses and these local traditions. Yeah.
So, would you be working with local artisans to help them get onto your platform? And I guess the other half of that same question is physically, where would the goods reside?
Yeah.
I could
go ahead.
So so initially we would reach out to the nonprofits and NGOs based in these developing countries, and because there are a lot of them that are dealing with selling these products locally, but most of these NGOs are not really focusing their attention onto international markets. What we'll be doing is initially to test and validate our idea. We'll be reaching out to those NGOs who will help these artisans who are not very tech savvy to actually get their story out, get their photographs, and get their products, good pictures of the products that we will take them. We'll have a curated list of items onto our website that we will maintain inventory in the first few months to validate our idea. Once we have a good response from from North America itself, then we'll start shipping on demand instead of maintaining an inventory.
Any thoughts about the sort of regulatory compliance aspect of importing natural products?
Natural, I'm not sure, but the export in these developing countries is usually they have very loose rules around them, so that they could encourage these artisans to actually export. And bigger companies use those loosely bounded laws to exploit these workers.
All right, I believe that's 3 minutes of Q&A. Thank you very much, .py or .py. Next, we'll have PlsComeToBrazil.
Thank you very much.
I'll give the judges 1 minute for entering their scores. Thank you. If the judges are ready, we can start. PlsComeToBrazil, you can get ready to present.
Everything
All right, your time starts now.
Perfect. All right, so our team, PlsComeToBrazil, has made an app called ReClapp. As you might have inferred, we are from Brazil, and as soon as we saw the challenge, we knew we wanted to talk about sustainability in our country. So having first-hand experience living here, we knew that recycling and proper waste disposal is a big issue that needs to be more approach. So we started by researching a little bit about what it's like in Brazil. So of all the trash produced, 30% has the potential to be repurposed, but only 3% actually is. And the improper disposal of this waste ends up in rivers and consequently our ocean. And it also ends up in improvised landfills, which completely affect public health. So our solution to this problem was ReClapp. So it is a recycling app that does help reduce improper disposal and promotes the reuse and repurposing of waste in a fun way. So you are earning points through challenges in the quest to become a sustainability master. So let me show you a little bit about the features. So people can see here tips on how to properly dispose their waste, or on how to find recycling centers. And we have a tips section where you can see other people posting challenges with things that you can do with materials. So if someone posts a challenge about cardboard and you can reorganize that into an organizer, you can accept the challenge and earn some points by doing that. We also have a search feature where you can look for, let's say, a specific material, and is everything okay? All right. And you can see, for example, in this case, oil, that other tips that people have made. So about how to properly dispose it, challenges to reuse the material that you can accept, as well as announcements of other people talking about if they reuse the material themselves. So for example, if you are a soap maker and you use vegetable oil, you can say that you pick up in your city used vegetable oil to make soap for yourself. So that is another feature. And then we have a little bit of the social aspect where you can post the challenges that you have completed and also talk about tips that you give others. For example, like here, you can give other people tips and you can earn your points. And these points will count towards your city rank or country rank, or even a global rank for whatever country that you're in. And in the future, we would like to add advertisements also to help fund the app. So for eco-friendly products or like sustainable swaps for single-use plastic. And we would also like to form partnerships with municipalities of individual cities so that they can include information or how waste disposal is maybe done differently in that city, and if there are any recycling programs or incentives. So that is what we see in the future. But the biggest takeaway is that we want people to be more involved in how they dispose of their waste, and they can others can help them find more tips and do challenges.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that would be the end of your
That
3 minutes.
is ReClapp.
All right, judges have the floor for any questions. Please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Open for questions.
Oh, and now I can see the picture. It's funny, I couldn't see your screen share the whole time, but a live demo is
Sorry,
fantastic.
I can't hear. Wait, I think something is happening. I can hear people. 1 second. Turn off. 1 second. Let me try to stop sharing.
Hello.
Can
you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I still can hear. Oh my god. 1 second. Why is this happening?
Oh. Can you hear us now, Fernanda?
Can we put them in chat?
Here, oh no. I wonder maybe if you guys could type and help me, because I have no idea what I can. Oh, it has arrived. Audio has arrived.
Okay.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
So I was just starting to say, fantastic for the live demo. That's great to see. And I feel your pain with some of the technical issues that can happen. When it comes to the challenges that people are doing, I guess how much verification effort goes into that, and who has to do that effort? Is it other people in your community? Is it like you have to review everybody's challenges who's doing them in the whole world?
So because of the social aspect, so you would have to post a picture when you do a challenge, so to show that you did the challenge. And then because of the social aspect that other people are going to see, we hope that that is incentive enough not to lie. But it's basically that is how it would work.
All right, thank you so much. It was an excellent presentation, really exciting to watch. I noticed that one of the things that you mentioned was we talked about artisans, we talked about municipalities, we talked about the general public. So I'm interested to hear a bit more about who are you marketing toward and who's your target market in these early days?
Right, so the main audience is local people, so crafts
artisans, like craftsmen, and communities. So cute. And so our focus is on small people and local communities. So because in Brazil it's very common for people to recycle, so they collect like tin like plastic caps, or collect plastic bottles, and there's no way to find out who does that. That's a problem that we thought of in Brazil. So it would be really important to have a place where people can post like, hey, I collect this, please give them to me, I will recycle them for you. So that's already the idea.
I want to commend you on your rolling with the punches with the AV issues. Congratulations. And I think our other judges have asked the questions that I had jotted down. So I love the working prototype. It makes it so easy to see and even play with it yourself to see how you'd interact with it. It makes it real.
Yeah, my partner, if anyone else watching wants to check it out, my partner has placed the link of that website with the prototype in there. So feel free to go at it.
And sorry, I don't know if I caught it or I just missed it at the beginning of your presentation. Did you say you're university students?
Yes, we're both university students.
All right, I believe that's all the time we have for Q&A. Thank you very much. Please come to Brazil. We'll be sure to drop by someday. All right, next we have HTTP 418. Guys, you can send in your requests, and I'll be giving the judges 1 more minute for registering it in their form. And that's a very cute onesie.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, if I can take a quick minute, this is the Hack Cross onesie from last year. I was very pregnant when I was judging last year and was gifted this onesie. So Moira is repping Hack Cross.
You got to start early with hacking.
Right? Madison says, I made that onesie. Thank you, Madison. Moira loves it. Aiden, I think you may be in my form.
All right, if the judges are ready, I can bring in the next team. All right.
Seems appropriate in honor of the next team.
All right, are you guys ready? All right, the next team, HTTP 418, I'll lead them on.
Hey, how's everyone?
Hi.
Just quickly before we start, Jonathan, so happy someone
I'm
got it.
so glad you understood the joke. I seen you reaching for the T button. I'm like, he got it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Your time starts now.
All right. Hello, judges. My name is Eric, and we are HTTP 418. Our members are myself, Evan Boki, and Gavin Hull. We are seniors at Mount Pearl Senior High, and today we will be presenting BarterX, platform for bartering. So what is BarterX? BarterX is a service that uses complex matching algorithms to connect people with items and services they need via a cheap and fast mesh network system.
Our inspiration. In researching the economies of developing regions, our team realized that bartering, where goods are traded for other goods or services rather than currency, is extremely common. By creating a method of matching people with reciprocal needs, we can significantly speed up the movement of goods and services and help economies grow in the process.
Our business model. Our plan is to sell the BarterX system to as many people as possible for as cheap as possible in order to maximize the number of units in an area, increasing the effectiveness of our mesh network. Why we care. BarterX would be structured as a not-for-profit, as we want to help people as quickly as possible. Fixing a country's economy cannot happen overnight, but BarterX can start to help people get the supplies they need today.
Why this is important. Our mission at BarterX is to use the technology we have to assist underdeveloped regions in improving their economy through the promotion of trade. Aiding these regions improves the relations between their governments and our own and leads to healthier collaboration between countries.
All right, so this is a diagram of a community that we believe could use BarterX. Each of these circles represents a family or a house, and it has the things that they have and the things that they need. For example, this yellow circle here, they have excess bananas and need milk. So the BarterX system will connect people with reciprocal needs, as many as possible, so that as many people as possible are satisfied. For example, the BarterX system finds a four-way trade between these people, so that everybody gets something that they need. It continues until everybody gets something that they need. We've developed a program to show this. There's a list of 50 different objects that they could choose from, and 25 different people who will randomly choose the things they have and need from this list. The system prints out every person's names and the things that they've chosen that they need and have, and in less than a second, searched through 571 different trades, and the longest trade it found was 16 people long, which means it satisfied 16 different people's needs. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Great. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Concise presentation. I want to make sure that I get this straight. Is this something that would happen between countries or within a country, within a community?
Our idea was to use it for small towns, villages, but it could be developed and expanded into larger settlement cities.
Yeah, keeping it small and tight, I think, helps you avoid some of the political complexities that would come along with a system like that.
So one question I would have is, and I think this is a very clever notion, by the way, you know, kind of scaling up the Settlers of Catan concept to real world issues that real families have. But, you know, so one issue with informal online commerce, Kijiji, Craigslist, whatever, is that sometimes things fall through when somebody doesn't show up or somebody doesn't have the $50 they said they were going to give you. If you have a long chain of 16 people who are involved in a complex transaction, I guess what happens when one person doesn't fulfill their end of the bargain?
You want to take this one, Gavin?
No,
all right, I got it. Okay. In the future, one of the features we plan on implementing is a rating system, so you can give someone a good rating if show up on time, and this will discourage dishonesty and not coming through with your end of the deal, and we will favorize the people who have good ratings to encourage encourage.
How do you? Sorry, Eric.
No, go on.
Great presentation. How do you equalize the playing field? I'm thinking of like other platforms. Buns comes to mind. It's more of a trading platform of goods. But how do you equalize like milk and bananas and land to be equal value? So you don't have someone who has an excess of something exploiting someone who has an excess of something that's of lower economic value.
Well, another feature that we were planning on implementing was some sort of chat, because a computer really can't value these objects accurately, especially not over long periods of time when they change. So the idea was to implement a chat feature where they can meet up in person, discuss exact prices and quantities, etc.
I guess the only other thing I'd throw out would be not so much a question as a caution that, especially when thinking about like international development type activities, one doesn't want to talk about fixing other countries' economies and things.
Fair enough.
All right, I believe that's all the time we had for Q&A. Thank you very much, HTTP 418. Great presentation, guys. Next, we have nOtNoTtEaM. So please send in your requests, guys, and I'll give the judges 1 more minute for entering the scores in the form. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
By the way, if anybody out there wants to see screenshots of your presentation, I'm live tweeting this on the Bounce Twitter, which is @BounceHI. So you can have a look at it there, especially if you want to grab one of those pics for yourself.
All right, if the judges are ready, I can call in the next team. All right, sounds good. We have nOtNoTtEaM.
There we are, we're in.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
All right, guys, you can set up and we can start the presentation.
Yeah. Okay, I'll share the full screen and just go boom. Can you guys let me know when you guys can see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay, perfect.
All right, your time starts now.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. Today we'll be presenting our solution, AgriFacts, for this year's hackathon. There we go.
So we'd just like to take a minute to introduce the team. Hi, I'm Daniel Brown.
I'm Louis Farron.
I'm Mohammed Shawan. I'm Rithik. So first I want to start off by highlighting one of the key terms in this year's problem statement, and it's developing regions. So we wanted to find out what defines a region as developing, and we outlined 4 major characteristics, which is little to no middle class, low economic output and exports, food insecurity, and a lot of wasted or unused resources.
So from these general topics, we actually were able to sort of narrow it down a little bit to some specific points. Unreliable access to food, agricultural inefficiencies, inefficient resource allocation, and low economic output. And we were sort of able to tie these all back to the agriculture industry in some way.
So to address these underlying problems, we decided to implement a web application. We chose a web application because it's widely available to even those with limited resources. And essentially, the idea was to input data on the front end, send it to a machine learning model on the back end. And this is just a little design of what a front end form could look like. And essentially, the machine learning model will analyze this data with the data that it currently has and make some sort of prediction on a crop yield. And so this is another feature that we plan on implementing, and it's crop recommendation. So essentially, in this case, the machine learning model would consider all crops based on your country and region, temperature, and all that kind of stuff, and it would make pretty much a prediction on which crop is most suitable to your region.
So for our training model data points, we got most of our data from Kaggle, an open resource. For our crop data category, we just get the crop name. Environmental data would include average rainfall, average temperature, as well as location and regions. For economic data, it's going to be the cost and value. So for our future improvements, we know that data and machine learning program is very important. So we will allow the user to input their own data to help us make better predictions, as well as allowing them to input soil conditions that will definitely help us make better predictions, as well as their costs and values.
So we've also identified some potential future partners. Farmfolio is one of them, which provides ownership for individuals in these developing countries to buy land, which is very important. And also the FAO, or Food and Agriculture Association of the UN, which provides a whole bunch of data about agriculture in these regions, and which we hope we can work with to provide and access information.
Yep. And so just lastly, we just wanted to say a special thanks to everyone. We learned a lot during this time. We learned a lot about predictive modeling, a lot about machine learning and how complex it is. We learned a lot about UIs, new softwares, and we also learned a lot about planning and how important it is, the 2080 rule and stuff like that. They're actually, it's crazy how fast time flies when you're having fun. But yeah.
All right, thank you guys. That's all the time for your presentation. And now the judges have the floor for questions. Feel free to ask. All right.
So that was an excellent presentation, guys. Really, really exciting idea and a tremendously worldwide global issue. So one of the things that you talk about is optimizing machine learning to be able to make the determination as to what should grow in a general region. Right. And for instance, in Newfoundland and Labrador, one of the things that grows best here is a plant that's called Jerusalem artichokes. But guess how many people eat Jerusalem artichokes in Newfoundland and Labrador? Like basically no one. So, so Jonathan is the one guy.
You're hurting his artichokes.
So how would you deal with a mismatch between what's recommended by the AI and the local culture or traditional foodways?
Perfect question. The biggest point here is the third data point that we use, which is economic data. That economic data essentially pulls in how much demand and supply there are. So for example, if you're in Brazil and like we know, okay, they produce rice, but during 6 months of the year, rice is not profitable for them. They shouldn't be growing it, right? Or if there's too much supply, it's better to grow something else that gives you a higher yield, cost value.
And another point on that, we kind of like when you send the data to the backend, it would sort of like compare all the things that are possible to grow in the country before it makes a recommendation. So like if you're in Newfoundland and it's impossible to grow potatoes here, I guess you can have some kind of list and like these countries can grow these points and it's most suitable in these conditions and these would be the only ones considered. You know what I mean?
And one of our future improvement is allowing the user to input the data. So like if an item is popular within that region, we should be able to detect it in our algorithm.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's super complex because machine learning is not, just a simple ABCD. It's there's regression models and stuff like that we're trying to use. They're quite complex, but yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. You'll definitely avoid that Newfoundland cucumber farm problem. You're familiar with that.
And within the data that you're using, will the models that you train be able to recognize necessary patterns for like leaving fields fallow and like which crops follow other crops well?
Yeah, so that's going to be a later incorporation. At this point, we're focusing just on sort of, I guess, a shorter term outlook for it. Obviously, once we get more data and more information, it'll be more possible. But for now, we're just focusing on building the framework, I guess is a good way of putting it.
To build upon what Lewis mentioned, we do plan on including a way for them to input soil conditions. So here we can like ask the user for like pH levels, how much nitrogen is in the soil, and like potassium, and that will help us determine will leave the crop like the land usable after or not.
Yeah, 100%. So I just want to chime back in on this actually because I missed an important point. So part of that as well is soil composition is like nutrients, but as well, it's actually how quickly those nutrients drain out. It's quite easy to actually sort of quantify all of that as well. There's relative features that soil have. So we'll include that as well. We've looked at some of the models, we just can't incorporate it yet.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have for Q&A. Thank you very much, guys. Amazing
Thank
presentation.
you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Next, we have Octane, and that's the last team. Judges, you can have a break after that, I guess. All right. You guys have 1 minute. Take your time and fill in the form. All right, if the judges are ready, I can bring in the next team. All right. Hello there, guys. Octane. You guys can start setting up and begin your presentation.
Give me 1 second. All right. So, okay, yeah.
All right, your time begins now.
So, good afternoon, judges and participants. So, millions of households dispose of unwanted glassware in common trash that is both harmful to workers when broken and to the planet as well, because glass takes around 4,000 years to biodegrade. Glass has one of the biggest carbon footprints, as for every ton produced, 500 pounds of waste gets created. Okay. And this is the technology we use to differentiate between aspects of glasses when we offer normal citizens the options to schedule pickups. So we use CSS, HTML, and JavaScript to create a website to enable citizens to schedule pickups. We plan on using a color detection algorithm to sort through different colors, and also based on their refractive index to differentiate between types of glasses, as the type of glasses have different index, refractive index. Excuse me. And this is a small presentation on how the demo works. So right now you can see, it's detected the blue color, but when I change it to red, just give this again. Yeah, when I change it to red, it detects the red color. So we plan on using the OpenCV Python library and mappings and maskings to solve the color problem. So what our project offers is a pickup service for glassware among households, and we pay you a minimum of $10 for 100 pounds of glassware. We are also offering small-time context opportunity to do community service and volunteering also on various stages of our process, hence the name To Bird One Stone. And on top of that, we have a fully functional website where it talks about us, our goal, and some really beautiful pictures, and services we offer, pickup service, contact us for custom jobs. And even the link we click here, it takes you to a Doodle website where you can just schedule a pickup, and we're going to contact you via email. And for regions where you don't have internet access, you can just call us on our number. And we're also available on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter if you want to know more information about the type of work we do. And thank you. That's everything for me.
All right, the judges have can ask the questions now.
Thank you. Great presentation. I was just curious where you're looking to target first to roll out your product.
So basically, the product we are going to roll out in Newfoundland and Labrador, because we are situated here, and the glassware issue for among local citizens and normal people like me is really big, because every day we go to the grocery shop and we buy like a pasta sauce jar, for example. That's gonna stay for like 4,000 years if you don't do anything to it. And throwing it in the bin is not really an issue. It is a big issue, sorry, because if it's broken, it's easily injuring the workers that's handling your food waste.
Thank you.
Yeah, so your problem identification is spot on. This drives me nuts as well, especially moving back home from Toronto. It seems ridiculous to me that we have to throw out glass jars. And so instead I end up keeping them, and then I have cupboards and cupboards full of glass jars that I don't do anything with. So I am curious how it seems like Newfoundland and Labrador, the government here, has been unable to find a way to do this in a way that is profitable. And that's why it doesn't happen here. So I want to know why you think that the solution you've found will be profitable enough to run as a business or even as a social enterprise and not be too costly to run, which seems to be the determination of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Sorry. So my main problem was to drive the cost of workers handling the products, the glass jars and everything down, because here in Canada, the cost of labor is really, really high. So that's why we implemented the aspect of allowing small-time convicts, like people who do some small shoplifting, and as well allow volunteers to participate in various stages of our product line. And that's a way for us to allow the convicts to get back to society by doing their community service with us, and that's the name, two birds and one stone. But so that's why, and also our technology enables us to differentiate between types of glasses, right? So let's say we have red glass, green glass, and blue glass. They're gonna go in different containers, crushed and made into pellets, because if we mix the colors together, it creates impurity, because red gloss and green gloss create yellow gloss. So by separating them, we just make them like a big issue that we solve, and also differentiating them between the refractive index to separate between tempered glass, normal glass, and stone fire glass, because those has to be made into different colors because of their melting points.
All right, thank you.
I believe that's it for our Q&A time. Thank you very much, Octane. And I believe that was the last team for our hackathon final round. Thank you very much, judges, for giving your precious time to us. And thanks to our sponsors for helping us organize this event. And we'll soon get back to you with the results. And thank you very much for attending this round. I believe that's it for the hackathon. We'll let you know in the closing ceremonies.